the topic of discussion, the topic of contention right now is redrawing the boundaries of the Lok Sabha seats within the states and within the country. Now, that is going to be a point of discussion and debate and a lot of dissent as well. Because, democracy is about these 3 Ds, discuss, debate, and dissent, right? Mm-hmm. So we are raising our voice and we are saying, you don't have... There was a time, Maya, if you remember, in late 70s and 80s, where population was considered a bane. Mm-hmm. Population was considered something of a menace which needs to be curbed and controlled, and therefore governments have brought in these measures called family planning, etc., etc. The South actually effectively implemented family planning, and therefore population has actually come down in the South, whereas in the northern part of India and also several other pockets, population continued to grow. Mm. So today, if you were to go by the latest population numbers for delimitation and redrawing the boundaries of parliament seats, it would be a travesty of justice. Effectively, what it would mean is you would be punishing those states that have done well in the larger interest of the country, and you would be rewarding those who actually haven't followed or adhered to the government of India's dictum. Mm-hmm. So therefore, we came out with a radical proposal saying, Telangana is a state which is about 2.5% of India in terms of population, but we contribute to 5% of India's GDP. So if you were to draw boundaries, redraw boundaries, then why don't you actually use GDP as a measure? Of course, that did not go very well, with the party in power in Delhi now, but I'm not going to make a huge fuss about it, because I'm sure we'll get more opportunities in India to debate, to basically discuss with them. And I think Oxford India Forum probably is not the place where I would see, this being resolved ASAP. So yes, it is an issue, but I do believe there are several things that need to be addressed before we get to that point. Yeah.
So we've already heard from you what an incredible success Telangana has been, but I'd like to ask you a little bit about the origin of that success. So right after you served in several ministerial capacities in Telangana, but one was as IT minister, it was ranked by Niti Aayog as the #1 state for the ease of doing business. And that's a really incredible accomplishment for such a young state. And you mentioned the sort of history of maybe, that a new state was a part of the success, perhaps, because you had a lot of passion, a lot of purpose that was built into the very starting moment. But many people here are from other parts of India, maybe even from Bangalore, and they would like. And so, for when you think about what is transferable from the experience of what were the key decisions, the 1 or 2 things that you think are really key that other Indian states should learn from when it comes to what Telangana got right about the ease of doing business?
The most interesting and most heartening thing about India is, India is not a homogeneous country. We are very, very, you lived there for a bit, you worked in India as well, you'd know it. It's a very diverse country. Everything changes in India every 200 kilometers. The language, the dialect, the culture, the cuisine. I think even probably the politics. So therefore, I think what needs to come about, or what needs to happen really, if you ask me, is the cohesion that is supposed to bring Indian states together. The cohesive force. Where we learn from each other, where we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Mm-hmm. That is something that is, I believe, truly missing right now in India. So I would say 2 things. If other states have to emulate and grow and really not leapfrog but pole vault into the next league, I'd say 2 things. 1, leadership, passionate leadership, which is bent on effecting change in the time span that's given to us. And 2, of course, with all the diversity, with all the disconnect that there is between Indian states, I think Government of India playing a role of ensuring the role of a big brother, where you would actually possibly do a SWOT analysis by state and say, you're good at this, stick to this, you're good at this, please do this. And then so there's no stepping on each other's toes, then there's no bickering of sorts in between the states, but learning from each other, working in a complementary fashion. We use this word federalism very, very loosely in India. So cooperative federalism is what should be the order of the day. Nothing else, that'll take us away from that. Yeah, because stronger the states, stronger the country.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So central coordination was not one of the answers I thought that you were going to come up with when I asked you that question. So